Welcome to the Dialogic Reading Online Module 1, focused on learning about the dialogic reading essentials. You will find a wealth of resources, analytical thinking practices, and recommended readings to both learn about and refine your teaching practice with young dual language learners. As you travel through this module, keep these learning goals and outcomes in mind. Be familiar with the dialogic reading framework and planning process. Understand the research-based principles for dialogic reading. Identify instructional strategies to support young dual language English learners in dialogic reading. Explore dialogic reading resources on the U.S. Department of Education's Doing What Works website. The content in this module includes materials and resources vetted by the U.S. Department of Education's Institute of Education Sciences, commonly known as IES. IES evaluates and recommends practices that are supported by rigorous research. The Doing What Works website provides an online library of resources and possible ways educators might carry out those evidence-based practices. The content for these evidence-based practices is organized into 3 areas. The first area is called Learn What Works, where the focus is to understand the research base behind the recommended practice. The next area is called See How It Works and includes examples of schools engaged in these practices. The last area is called Do What Works, which highlights the use of tools and templates to improve practices. The What Works Clearinghouse has reviewed the research on 2 practices used in settings with young children who are not yet in kindergarten. These positive results for practices are the foundation for the content of Doing What Works. These 2 evidence-based practices include phonological awareness and dialogic reading. The ultimate goal for these 2 practices is to improve language and literacy skills. This document, called Early Beginnings, Early Literacy Knowledge and Instruction by the National Institute for Literacy, is based on research findings published in 2009 by the National Early Literacy Panel on the development of literacy skills in young children. Based on this review, a set of practices were identified as predictors of later conventional literacy skills and the kind of instruction that will promote the development of these skills. Language and literacy skills identified include alphabet knowledge, phonological awareness, ability to name a sequence of letters, digits, objects, or colors, writing, concepts of print, and oral language, among others. These findings had important implications in the early childhood education field. Early language and literacy development involve continuous, interconnected, and dynamic processes. As children grow, they develop language and literacy skills that involve analytical talk, vocabulary, phonological awareness, concepts of print, understanding and appreciation of stories. These skills are foundational for learning to read and write. Children's experiences with language and books shape learning and development. But reading to children is not enough. Research shows that children need to be actively involved in the stories. Interacting with books provides many of the skills that are necessary for school readiness. We must ensure that these practices are supported by balanced literacy instructional approaches and that teaching is intentional, experiential, and developmentally appropriate. What does intentional mean? Teachers choose the words intentionally when responding to children, and the same happens when they plan for a future lesson. The research shows positive effects when books are used in classrooms in a structured and organized manner and are mediated through adults encouraging the use of analytic talk. As educators design and align their school readiness goals, dialogic reading directly responds to those focused under language development, approaches to learning, cognition, and general knowledge. Please take the next few minutes to complete the teacher self-assessment questionnaire.